Alright guys, what we have learned so far is to manage our expectations. So don't expect your rabbit to be something beautiful by this point at least, because it's normal by this point, if you are a beginner and learning still the tools, your rabbit to be looking like crap. I'm sorry, yes, I know, but still it's normal, so relax, just, take your time, learn the skills, learn the craft, learn the tools. Don't try to be the best artist out there, because this will take time. Blender is a potent tool. It can make you a good artist if you use it enough and if you put it into a good use, if we may say. But also, it's not easy, even if it's free. It takes, as every other tool that you have paid for example, if you pay $1,000 to buy 3D Max, for example, it's more expensive than that, but whatever, you probably will have more initiative, you have more will to go and learn it because you have spent so much money. This is free tool, Blender is free, and then you download it and it's crap, it's not good, but it's good, believe me, it's good. Why am I saying that? So I have worked long years with ZBrush, and ZBrush is the best tool for sculpting in the world right now. Yes, no doubt about it. Blender is the second best, but Blender is free, ZBrush is not. Blender is good enough for most tasks, and I'm using Blender now for more than a year. I'm using only Blender for all my tasks and it works. It's not a problem, so it's fine. It's very, very similar to ZBrush as sculpting, and the hard surface part is the same as 3D Max, even better in some points. I'm working much faster in ZBrush, in Blender, than in 3D Max. I was using 3D Max for long years. The first 3D software I learned back in 2004 was 3D Max. So it was my first 3D software, and still I work faster in Blender because Blender uses those default shortcuts and they are awesome. Blender is a newer software, although, yeah, it's newer. Although, once in 2007 or 2008, I tried to learn Blender. But Blender back in the days, it was like 14, 15 years ago, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. But since then, it came a long way. So Blender now is just top. Very nice. And absolutely capable of everything. So now I'm just doing few little edits here and there, and then let's go to object mode by Control Tab left to object mode, or going here up, object mode. And then, by the way, remember, if you haven't selected any object and you try to go to any mode, but now we have something selected, but if for some reason we have nothing selected, then you will not be able, for example, to go to any mode. But usually you have something just tiny selected here, so it's not a problem. Whatever. We go to object mode to add a sphere. So Shift A to go to the add menu and mesh sphere. Now, this sphere, of course, make sure you have this selected here on the left, the transform. And then we go and press tab. Always when we create something, a mesh, we go to tab. By the way, this sphere now, since I messed with it a little bit before, now it always, all the time it creates a sphere here. It's like this. So what I will do is go back to my object mode with tab, press X and delete it. So I delete the sphere. I create it again with Shift A, mesh sphere. And then here I will do the default sphere. The default sphere is 3216, I think. Yeah, this is the default sphere. So behind me, I just changed the numbers because I have changed them before. So I changed them back to default. Now this is the default sphere. I select it by clicking on it, then pressing tab to go to edit mode. Always move and scale and transform your objects in edit mode. Don't do it in object mode. Again, let's do this. Now, we grab this. Of course, we have to have the transform tool selected here in the left with the tools, and we have it here. If you don't see the transform tool, it's possibly because you by accident have clicked on this here on the top. You see how it hides the tool. You cannot see it. It's there, but you cannot see it. There are other things you can press here, for example this one, to not see some other things that you have selected. This, for example, it's selected but you cannot see it, and you can move it in edit mode, but you cannot see what's selected because show overlays is off here in the top kind of rightish corner of the screen, you see. So this is for the tools. It's show gizmo, and control this above the tab. If you accidentally not press control tab but press control and the button above the tab, you will disable the view of your tools, and you will be wondering what's happening. So be careful about that, but I'm telling you, so now you know. Also, what else could happen is for you to press only control spacebar. Control spacebar is maximizing your window. So control spacebar, if you press it again, it will go back to normal. So sometimes I use it to maximize my window because I don't need this portion here while I'm sculpting. So now I will do it. Control spacebar, and you see it. Control spacebar is maximizing our working area, and it's better to work that way most of the time, for me at least. For you, I'm not sure, but I'm just saying. So I will move this down in edit mode, then I will make it a little bit longer, then scale it with S. So now the overall scale, when I do a scale on certain axes, I use those axes here. The blue is of course Z axis, the green is, as we can see here, is the Y, and the red is the X. We can see them here in the top right corner. But when I want to scale it everything completely, I always scale by pressing the S key on the keyboard. S for scale. So I press S, scale it down, and I put it up. Now how big it should be, we will see. In the sculpt mode, we will see what will be. Yeah, for 7 minutes and something, we have just one little thing like a body, but whatever. So this body, let's just check out how big it should be. Now we look from here to here to here, those distances, and as we can obviously see is that the distance, let's see it here, between the top of the ear and the beginning of the head here in the bottom is as big or maybe bigger than the distance between the heels and here. So yeah, basically this is far bigger, but it should be something like this. So the legs should be something like that. Yeah, so it's cool, but we have to cut it here. It has to be like this, and here we'll have our shorts, and we'll have our jacket, and the sword will be in the back. Big knife. It's either sword or big knife, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think it will look good. Although, of course, when we put all the pieces, like the body, the basic body, and the legs, the basic legs, we can adjust them later. But let me show you something very, very interesting. Now I'm snapping from the side view. How do I do that? Snapping from the side view you can do by pressing Alt. So I'm using my tablet, so I'm always pressing Alt to rotate. So I'm just holding Alt and rotating with the tablet. But then if I just take my finger out of the Alt and press it again, it will snap on certain angle. So this is one way to snap. The other way to snap on the side is by pressing the button above the tab. So press it and then left or right. In this case, I think it will be left. No, it will be right. So press it and then right. And this will be your right view. And from this view, it's good to see some things. So for the body, let me show you how we can do it. We have to do it like this. We have to point it forward, the body, the whole body like this. We have to do it like a beanie, but we will. But point it forward and then the legs will point backwards like this. And there will be something like this. So it will be the overall pose of the body will be something like an arch, like forward arch. Why is that? This is more dynamic and this will look more cool. And as you can see, he has this kind of arch, even from 3/4. So from front view, from side view, it will be even more prominent. That's why we will do this. Okay, cool. Now, let's continue. This is our body. Let's go to sculpt mode. Let's turn on our symmetry very, very carefully. Always turn on the symmetry. And just with the grab brush, start doing it. Now, we will have something like a neck here. So let's do this. I'm pushing, pulling, just to make sure I have something like a neck. Yeah, this neck, of course, we can make it separate mesh if we want. But overall, when I want my brush to be bigger, I just zoom out with Control and Alt. Zoom out. If you're using the mouse, it will be only Control and the middle mouse button. But in my case, since I'm using the tablet, it's Control and Alt. Zoom out, and then I can move this forward. And you see, I'm starting to make this arch, which we will continue with the legs. And it will be great. Believe me, I'm a scientist. No, believe me, I'm an artist. So you see, beanie shape, pointing forward, and overall forward arch of the body. Now, next thing is to make arms and legs. It will be easy with just cylinders. So let's go. First, Control Tab Object Mode. So Control Tab left to Object Mode. Yeah, if you learn, and you will learn how to do Control Tab and left fast, Control Tab down, Control Tab right. I don't usually use Control Tab right to go to edit mode. I usually do it by tab. So most of the time, Control Tab left and Control Tab down are my most used actions. But this you will use in one way and one way only, by practicing. If you don't practice them, if you don't use them constantly, you will not learn them. So if you want to learn Blender overall or any 3D program like Blender, ZBrush, I have courses for ZBrush, of course. I have even one course for 3D Max, but I don't recommend using 3D Max anymore, whatever, because Blender is absolutely enough. The idea is that if you want to learn this kind of software, which is kind of complex and everything, you have to use it every day for a few hours. Every day, few hours, use the software, go inside, try to do some stuff, try to do a head, try to add a cap or a hat on the head and stuff like this. Just add things, move them around, and just try to do something. Try to do a concept, for example. In the beginning it will be very difficult, because every beginning is difficult, but you will jump in very big steps in the beginning, and at some point you will feel very much comfortable in the program, and then you can make this next steps to be better. That's good. So mesh, of course, Shift A to add a mesh, then mesh cylinder. We add the cylinder, absolutely go to edit mode with tab, and then I will increase the size of the cylinder by the x-axis by just pulling this blue handle. Then S to scale it. I just press S and then move my mouse or the tablet, and then move it here by the red axis, by the red, and then let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, this I think could do, and then G and then rotate, and then G. G is to freely move it. It's again like the grab in sculpt mode, but it's not in sculpt mode, obviously. So this will be one arm. I don't need to do the other one because I will use mirror mode. I will use mirror modifier. But before that, I just want to duplicate this arm and make it a leg. So let's do this. Shift D to duplicate, just move here, rotate it with the gizmo, G, move it here or move it with the gizmo, it doesn't matter, and move it so it's like a part of the arch, a little bit like this. It should be enough. So now this leg could be a little bit long or could be a little bit something. We don't care now. We just want to have something. Now I will Control Tab to see everything. My modifiers are here. I will just add a mirror modifier. If by any chance you have moved those cylinders in object mode, when you do this mirror modifier, maybe nothing will happen. But I will tell you how to fix it again, because I know repetition is knowledge. So we go back to object mode, we press Control A. And in Control A, this is applying your transformation. So apply all transforms and it should work. Now the mirror modifier should work. Definitely, yeah. So now I will go to sculpt mode with Control Tab down, and then I will move those a little bit to see what happens. So the legs should have a little bit of a distance, as we can see here, when they're entering the body. And the body may be a little bit wider here. But overall, I'm sensing we are in a good position here. Now, what I need is the boots. The boots will be interesting, but I will show you how to do them. And let's do them. So, to do the boots, we again have to go to object mode. So when we add objects, we always go to object mode first. With the exception of if we want to duplicate some object and use it. But again, we can do it in object mode, whatever. So let's go to object mode, Control Tab left. And here we will add a cylinder, sphere. Shift A, and we add UV sphere. Then we get the sphere in edit mode, so I'll press Tab, and we put it down here, then scale it on this axis. So this is the green axis now, and then I scale it down with S. Overall scale is difficult to make it only with the mouse, and it's very much easier done with the shortcuts. So S is a good way to scale. Now I'm scaling this. My goal is to make this, let me show you what. So I pressed the button above the tab and then I went left. This is my left orthographic view, and it says here left orthographic. So this view, in this view, I can make this shoe like this. I want to make it kinda triangular, like this. This is my goal. How to achieve it? Let's see. So in sculpt mode we go, so Control Tab down, and then I will show you something new. So this brush here, it's not exactly brush, but it's called line, let me see, line project. So this is called line project. It's here, just here, line project. So this particular line project brush here, exactly what I'm pointing, is I will select it, and then I will start from here, just click and drag to here, but I want it to be flat. I want to flatten the bottom. So I will press Control, and now it's flat, and I'm holding Control. And now I want to move it a little bit up. So I press spacebar, and now I'm holding Control and spacebar, and I will just release everything around here. And now we have a flat bottom. It just flattens. It doesn't cut, it flattens. So everything is flat there. I can move around and see. If I'm lost, of course, I always press home, and I go home. And here we have to use our grab brush. Now I use the grab brush to just make sure this is looking relatively fine. I can move this. I can flatten this with my Scrape Peaks brush, which is 3 in our case. But if in your case it's not 3, you have to just find it, the Scrape Peaks brush, and put your shortcut to 3 eventually. You don't need to do this, of course, but I recommend it. Now I will move it so this should look much better. I'm just flattening the sides a little bit. The idea is to look a little bit like the concept. Sharp, although it's not exactly, you know, looking perfect, but it will look fine. Is it big? Let me see. So the length of this and the length of here, yeah, it's not the whole length of the leg nowadays. So I will have to make it a little bit smaller. So I go to, if I want to make it smaller, what I will do is go to Tab and press S, make it smaller. And now I can G, move it back, and then I will rotate it outward because both of them, both of the legs of the feet are rotated outward. So I'll rotate it much more outward and put it where I like it. In this position should be okay. And now of course I will add a mirror modifier and we have our legs. Relatively painless. We have our legs. Now in the next video we will do the pants and we will do, the most importantly, the arms, the hands. The hands will be difficult. Don't expect them to be very easy. I will try to guide you through the process as much as possible. We will make them relatively not very much flat like this, but we will make them a little bit, you know, bent, because as you can see in the pose that we will want to achieve, one is bent around the knife and the other one is bent because it's on the waist. So we have to make them bent anyway. It will be a best idea. So see you in the next video. We will try to do that.